Ryan and Dave save the world, dude. Duh.
Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of Ryan and Dave Save the World. This week we get to sit down and meet comedian Matt Torkelson. He's a Merrill native who's been out in the Los Angeles area for a while now, and he's chasing down his dreams, and he is doing amazing things. So here it is, sit down, enjoy Matt Torkelson. You guys are testers? They hate
I mean, it's already like you can get it in 2 days. It's already huge now. But like the fact that I can be like, I need new headphones, and then they're there by like 4 o'clock. It's
come on, dude, that's crazy.
It is, but it's also a trap. You know, then I get my credit card bill the next week. It's like, all right, enough Amazon for a couple months. You know, it's just so easy to.
Oh,
right.
So you get same day.
Same day if I want. Yeah, for like $3. It's
Forget
it. Yeah. What a
Your
listen,
house
listen,
be a
guys. I got
non-stop feed right to your front door, dude.
Listen, guys, I got some serious problems in my life. Amazon is too convenient. That's what I'm trying to say. No, it's lovely, but it's dangerous. Very easy to spend way too much money.
Yeah, dude, super easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
So
That place runs my life, dude. I'll tell you right now. I can't wait to order stuff off Amazon. I got stuff right in my queue right now.
Mm-hmm. Do you do that? Do you order it and then immediately check like the track progress? Like you know it hasn't left at all, but all it's gonna say is fulfilling, and you have to go and check them. Okay, good, they're doing it.
Yeah, right. It's green, and it makes you feel all good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, oh, this is actually happening. Yeah, it's nice.
So, dude, okay, going back to this whole same day thing.
Mm-hmm.
You only get that, I'm sure, in bigger cities and stuff like that, and wherever their main distribution centers are.
Mm-hmm.
So what city would that be? Where are you right now?
I am in Los Angeles. I just hit 4 years out there, like literally 2 days ago.
4 years?
Yeah, man.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I moved. The plan was kind of for a while to move out, a long time to move out there, but I graduated college 2011, and then I moved back here for 3.5 years to like save up as much as I could. Because I had friends that tried to move to New York and other places, even Chicago, like right after college, and had like 1,500 to their name, maybe 2,000, and then they're back in a month. And it's you think you can make it, but like, obviously first and last month's rent, furnishing an apartment, I knew that was gonna hit me with like 5-6 grand alone. So I tried to plan for it, but still I got out there and I'm like, all right, I'm set. And then like by November, December, just down to your last 1,000, you're like, oh god, let's see how this goes. But yeah, I've been out there for 4 years, man. It's crazy, but I love coming back as much as I can. So
what are you doing out there?
I'm out there for stand-up comedy. I've only very recently got comfortable saying I'm a stand-up comedian. Like very recently, I would just tell people I moved for I could never actually say it. I felt very, I don't know, for whatever reason it felt like too lofty. Like, oh, I'm out there just to I was embarrassed. I told everyone. And this was in the Photo News did a very lovely article about the show this last Friday, and
you got a Photo News article?
And a Wasp Daily Herald, dude. It was
put it up.
Oh, it was unbelievable. When I went in there, when I talked to Laura Schultz for Lost Daily Herald and then Colin at the Photo News, I told them both, I'm like, I need to preface this all. I am nothing. I'm just like I've been doing stand up for 3 years and I'm very excited about it, but like I need to let you know that I'm like, there's nothing. I'm not coming back being like, oh, let's big deal bringing the city to the small town, nothing like that. It was very flattering. They wanted to promote it and everything, but yeah, I'm out in LA doing stand up, and I try to get back. My biggest like kind of fun bullet points of stand up have been mostly in the Midwest. Like my first actual like club gig was in Wausau when they still had Cuckoo's Nest, and then doing shows in Minneapolis.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was great. And then Skyline this last August, hosting the first full weekend. That was really exciting. And then, if you guys know Charlie Barron's The Man Talk Minute, like I opened for him at the Grand Theater in May. So like that was a huge deal. And I met him in Los Angeles, funny enough, and then saw he was doing a show in Wasson. And I was like, hey, if you need an opener, like I'd love to open for you, and sent him a tape. And before I know it, boom, we're a Grand Theater show. So it was it's fun. Like there's no ladder to climb. You just try to get better and better and better, and you hope to have a break, and then see where it is. And LA or New York are the place to be, and I chose LA. So
okay, so Matt Torkelson lives in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
How old are you?
I'm 30.
30 years old.
Yep.
Okay, and Matt is a Merrill kid,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
Born and raised.
So
other than the last few years.
So born over in both my mom and dad are from Merrill, and they were over in Minneapolis at the time. So I was born in a little town called Waconia, and then Apple Valley for a few years, and then by the time I was 7, we lived up here. So I mean, yeah. So I'm by all means from
Okay.
here. So, yeah.
So this may creep you out a bit, but when you moved here, you guys moved out to the lake right away?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know how I know that?
No, how?
Because my grandfather was your neighbor.
Wait. Wait.
Carl Cron.
Carl Cron was your that's your grandfather?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
So I always remember my grandpa talking about.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I remember him always talking about your
No.
dad.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
well, no. He really he liked your
Yeah.
parents a lot.
Yeah.
And I didn't recently. It wasn't until recently that I just kind of like put this all together. I was like, oh wow, I wonder if this is the same kid.
Yeah,
'Cause-
that's Carl was always so sweet. He would always let us fish off of his dock, and I loved his dock too because it had obviously it had like
Yeah,
a nice
yep.
enclosure that kind of opened up out into the water. That was
Did you ever go out on his boat?
no, we never did. No.
That thing was so cool.
Yeah,
Do you remember his boat?
No, I don't remember the boat. I remember his workshop. I remember
Okay.
so
Yep,
yeah.
Yep. My grandpa had this boat that was like, it looked like a little, like the SS Minnow or something out on Lake Alexander. It just didn't look like it belonged there.
Yeah.
It was
Yep.
so weird.
Yeah.
I
I had no idea, man. That's fantastic.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah. It's great.
So, and then you were friends with my sister.
Yep.
So, and we're both from Merrill. So I know, I when Dave mentioned your name, I knew exactly who you were. And then when, I'm friends with Matt Reiner as well, and I listened to you on his show as well.
Okay. Yeah.
And that was really good. That was excellent.
Matt's one of my favorite people. He's the best. Such
So-
a nice dude.
I also know Tom, not real well, but I know Tom Callio, and I know you're a musician as well.
Yeah. So that was like played. I grew up. I took piano lessons and everything as a kid, and then kind of stopped I stopped in like middle school because for a reason, like, typical. I don't want to take lessons, and then did band, and then took up guitar in high school. But I never ever got really proficient in guitar. Like I played chords and sang.
Have you ever thought about introducing music into your stand-up?
People like say you should mash them up, but like the idea for me of like carrying around a guitar to open mic sounds like a nightmare.
Adam's-
and I'm so there's so many things in my I have such a backlog of like stories I want to try, but when I go up, I can assign like a week to like one story. I'm gonna go up and I'm gonna try to like hit every beat of this and then figure out what's funny and then go back. So the idea of like trying to incorporate music into that somehow I'm sure there is a way, but like. Probably inherent laziness is like I don't want to look around the guitar,
Well, and I think you would agree maybe that in the scheme of things you're still early on in your career.
Oh, absolutely.
So you're still you probably like you mentioned maybe down the line.
I mean, yeah. Who knows? I mean, it's. I mean, I could see like there's such a. God, there's guys that are like 10 years in, 15 years in, they're still like, oh, I'm just getting started. And you're like, oh my gosh, so it's like,
wow.
I like keeping those worlds potentially separate because like to me, music was like just pure fun. Like there was no like ever like I'm gonna be able to monetize it. You know what I'm saying? Both of them are gone now, which is weird. But my two spots were Victory Lane and Humphreys. I would do like one man band stuff, like play piano and sing.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Okay,
So,
I was there one time I think for that.
Yeah, Dave and Teresa came out for a few shows too. Like your parents always came out, and it was actually really sweet. But
Okay.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. So like that was just like cover, because that was just like covering the Beatles, covering the Animals, whoever else, and it was always fun to sort of mix them around. But that's actually one thing that I'm jealous of musically is because music has a lot of replay value. So if I work 6 months to get like a solid 10-minute set, which doesn't sound like much, but for stand up that's a good like chunk. And if I put it up on like a YouTube or something, and then I invite someone to a show, and they're gonna see a lot of the same minutes because obviously it's an act. Right. But people are like, I saw those jokes, and you're like, yeah, that's it's kind of But whereas music, I remember like at bars playing like getting to play Leaving on a Jet Plane or whatever. It's like that one's coming up, and they want to hear it sort of thing. So like there's definitely not saying that. Musicians don't, have that same worry of like turning out stuff and everything, but also like, I feel like stand up, it's definitely people want a lot more new content quick, and you're kind of like, I'm working on it. I'm trying to turn it out as quickly as possible, but yeah.
So then, okay, and this all came back around through Dave because you're friends with Becky, Dave's
Yeah,
sister.
Becky. Yeah, we were all these. Yeah.
But I knew you. So then actually, I've known you for a really long time.
Coming hanging out at the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just so like there was just I'm so curious to connect the stories because all I see is you in blurps, right? Like
sure.
High school Matt, and then and then like
Yeah, sure.
playing in the bar Matt.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and then I don't know if I ever saw you as college Matt, but whatever. And then now
Pretty much the same. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And so it's just cool to see because I also hopped around, after high school, living, and people are always curious. So it's really neat to also hear somebody that left. I can say that because we're all from here.
Yeah.
And you're just trying it, man. Like you're just like dipping your toe in it. And I think the one thing that I learned was that like, man, there's this whole world of experience and possibilities. And really all you do is just have to get over your fear of what,
Yeah, and like I've been out for 4 years, and I still like I think it's I won't say died down, but a little bit. Like there's still a lot of it, like it's just like just the sheer size of a city like Los Angeles. Like I come back home, and it's just a comfort. And immediately I literally crossed the bridge. Oh, it's okay. I crossed the bridge over into like into downtown. You see the courthouse.
Yeah,
and it's just like this immediate like blanket of like that's what I'm used to. That's what because I like LA, but it took a while.
Yeah.
And it was just a lesson in like just laziness of like no, I need to be proactive. Enjoy the city. I'm not just gonna sit on my butt and this season let me enjoy that. I got to go out and like find things I like, find places I like. I finally got into hiking this last year, which that's what the city is known for. Actually, it's like it's like 10 miles from my house. Drive out there, and then this is something that's very unique to this part. But I love coming back. That city is full of transplants, people who hate their small towns, which is fine. Everyone has different experiences. I love the hell out of Merrill. I love where I come from. I love coming back. I like the area a lot, and it's just a really good fun contrast to what I'm currently experiencing, and it bleeds a lot into my stand up too. So I don't mind just holding it either.
What's up?
Okay. Just so there's little gaps, let's fix this.
Okay.
This is.
We can
That's
do
fine.
this.
I have no problem. I don't mind. I do definitely not mind holding it either.
Otherwise, we can get an actual stand that's.
Whatever you guys want. All good. Oh, excuse me.
Sorry, dude. We were onto something there.
Sorry, dude.
That was fun, and then
Don't
we
be
kind of
sorry.
got
It's fine.
Well, it was just like.
It's just a little malfunction, dude, because these are like $3 stands.
Don't be sorry.
Amazon. Come back to Amazon.
I'm gonna go.
Let's blame it on Amazon.
I'm gonna give him an earphone when I go up.
That's right. I would.
Like, listen, guys.
Why are you selling this garbage? Oh, because it's cheap and we get it and it's what we need.
See, like, I'm actually scared. I'm always scared to get things like a microphone or something like that, because like I don't really know much about proper gear. I have to go all word of mouth. People are like, oh, get this. I'm like, okay, but like if I see a deal, I'm like, oh, maybe save $20, But then I get it and like, oh, this is why you pay the extra 20 or who knows what, So I just don't know. I don't know crap about.
Dude,
this
I always buy the cheap shit.
yeah, and then
And I find out why you buy the good stuff.
Yeah, sure.
That's true.
Yeah.
And when you have the cheap
I
stuff,
always buy
you're still
garbage,
actually
yeah.
learning on it.
Yeah. And the fun thing is, the best thing I've ever bought was a Shure microphone, and I bought it by accident from Tom because I borrowed it from him and I thought I lost it, so I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, man. So I gave him like $100 for it. And then I found it and I was like, microphone, and all of a sudden, it was the best accidental purchase I've ever made. But like, I still use that mic to this day because we'll help set up like for open mics and stuff for some people. And but when it comes to speakers, anything, I'm just like, I don't know. This is all I know is this one's cheaper. I have no idea sound quality, how it's gonna sound, or if it's a higher volume. I have no idea. But I wish I was more knowledgeable about that kind of stuff. So. Oh, good.
You will be, man. All you gotta do is do it.
Yeah,
you went to California. You didn't know what the hell you were doing for that.
Oh,
so.
that's not.
What the heck? What's buying a mic? Think about that, dude.
I suppose, yeah. So then we're
Really? I mean, what are you wasting? $25 on a crappy mic? Well, then you got a crappy mic.
That's true.
And you can still make stuff.
Yeah. So where are you? Like, so obviously you're right here in Merrill. So are you right here in Merrill too? Like, are you guys?
No, I'm.
Wausau?
I live in Wausau. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Whereabouts in Wausau?
Rib Mountain.
Red Mountain. Oh, I like Red Mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice.
So
Oh.
we just got the kids. I got 3 kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old.
Okay, great.
2 boys and the little one's a girl.
Mm-hmm.
And then moved out to Rib Mountain, and it's got an awesome neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
Good times.
So how far, like, literally, if you wanted to drive up, like, and like do like the hike up the mountain pass, how long? Mountain pass.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
it's
it's-
do you know where the golf course is on the north side?
Yep.
Okay, and then where the racetrack is,
Mm-hmm.
we live between the golf course and the racetrack.
Oh, okay, great.
Sort of on the north side of the
Yeah.
road.
That's really, it's nice there. It's the whole area, like which one of my friends, they're looking at Tomahawk right now, but like that's a comfort too. Like if for whatever reason anything in LA ever goes belly up, it's like just knowing how truly affordable the area is.
Oh, yeah.
So, not saying, obviously money, it can be expensive anyways, but like knowing I can come back and God, I tried to complain about price things LA too much because it's my choice to live out there, but also it's like what I know I pay for a studio apartment. That would get me a house in the water back here. So it's like, oh God.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But the problem is transferring that source of income
Exactly it.
here.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen.
No. You can actually make decent money driving.
Well, you could, man. You could run the Midwest circuit. I mean,
Mhm.
it would be like doing California. Yeah, you got to travel more, but you're like LA. I'm sure you're reaching more people in a shorter distance traveled.
Sure. Yeah.
And those people are cycling out every week.
Yeah.
Where here, you got to only play once a month.
Mm-hmm.
Or less.
Yeah.
Once a quarter,
Yeah.
because you don't want people to get burnt out with your stuff.
Yeah. That's exactly it. I mean, like, it's honestly, Cuckoo's Nest was great. Like, Cuckoo's Nest was like Wassa could absolutely take on a comedy club.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Appleton has one, and Appleton, like, I know, like, I looked, so I was the host for a guy named Nick Hoff, who's also an LA comic. He's, like, super sweet dude. He's also from Omaha. But, like, I looked at, like, they're coming up, and they had, like, the comics they had are just, like, not just, like, they're obviously all headliners, but, I mean, guys, we were like, oh, wow, they're coming to Appleton. Guys like Theo Vaughn, Mark Norman's one of my favorites, and he's
Theo
coming.
Vaughn is hilarious.
Well, oh yeah, dude, right? Yeah, he's so good. And so so I think he was either just there or is coming up like in October.
Okay.
And so it's impressive, And Wassa, I think the only problem with because the guy that ran it was a guy by the name of Dave Brula, who was really sweet, really good guy. But like I remember walking in the space. It's do you remember that like Old West sort of
Yeah.
like strip mall in Schofield?
Yep.
That's where it was. And I remember I walked in and the bar was right there, and then they had a huge separate room for the comedy club, and all I thought is, I'm like, wow, that's got to be a lot of overhead, because I remember I bartended at Humphreys for a couple years, and I would see like John do the books, and just how much money, just at that little space, how much money it takes to just run a bar. I mean, because I think that's a business everyone would romanticize, like, oh, how fun it would be to open a bar, own a restaurant. I'm the same.
right.
I would love to,
Yeah.
But then the reality of like just what you have to, just liquor license, bartenders, upkeep, whatever else, you're like, oh my God, so much money. So I think that's why Cuckoo's was just sudden, like boom, gone. But they were there for I guess 2 years or something like that. And it's Wassa, if they got like a small little space, had maybe like 80 seats, I bet they could easily do a comedy club.
Do you know if there's much of what do you call the comedy scene? Just a comedy
Just
scene?
yes, yeah.
Is there much of that in Minneapolis and Chicago
Oh,
or Milwaukee?
yeah. So it's so Milwaukee doesn't have their own official comedy club either, which is weird. But you would think they had one that closed, but they have a lot of like alt shows, and then a lot of big comics come and do like the Pabst Theater and stuff. Chicago, definitely a lot of stand up, but Chicago's also a very, very big improv town, which is they're different. Like improv is much more
Sure.
like Second City. That's their big one. So like Colbert, Bill Murray, like all those guys started there. See Steve Carell. That was their big city. But Minneapolis is an excellent stand-up city, and actually Minneapolis and Madison are both like across the country. If you listen to like the biggest comics, like that's their favorite club to go to. Like I was just listening to one of my favorite comics podcasts, Tom Segura, who he talks about, he was interviewing Andrew Santino, and Andrew Santino's like, oh, I'm going to Comedy Club on State in Madison, and Tom Segura just lit up. He's like, oh, like one of my favorite clubs, like they're known because like they're intimate rooms, like low ceilings. The club doesn't mess around at all with hecklers. They don't let, they're like no, you come in, you're gonna have fun, but like this is a show. You're not gonna, some clubs they're like let the comic figure it out on stage or someone's interrupting. But I just had someone tell me that there's a comedy club in Minneapolis called House of Comedy, and Preacher Lawson was America's Got Talent comic, and this couple just kept interrupting the show, and they weren't doing anything about it. And my friend Gina's like, yeah, we were there, and he just couldn't recover because like 1 or 2 interruptions, like. You can kind of like roll with it and be like, I'm terrible at that crap, by the way. Like
I was gonna say, I need a story, dude. Have you ever had hecklers?
Charlie Barron's show.
How do you even like handle that?
I just keep going. I'm like head down. I'm like I like barely address it. I just I hope it'll just kind of just like die out a little bit. But Charlie Barron's the show was excellent. But there were 2 women. There's 2 women. I think one of them was the husband, but they were sitting in the front row. And you know how the Grand Theater they sell liquor kind of out in the lobby or whatever. They had clearly been drinking since like 6, which is fine. Have fun. But I went up. By the way, I was told, they're gonna bring you up. I was the first act at all. They didn't even say my name. The guy walks off and just hands me, like the guy that owns the theater, he just walked off. He's like, here you go, and just hands me the mic. So I had to walk out cold. I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be awful. And I walk out, and luckily everyone was like ready to see a show. They were good to go. For a cold audience, they were great. And then the woman in the front row, I made a reference to where the red fern grows, and she yells out, no more dead dog jokes. And I was like, what? I just kind of nodded. I'm like, that's a good call, ma'am. And then anyways, and then just launched into but like, there's a lot of comics who like stop the show and they love that. They're really good at like handling hecklers. Me, I'm just like, I'm just trying to get through. Like, I have enough hard time like puzzling together a 15-minute set. So let alone trying to like, okay, in 4-minute mark, someone's gonna call you an idiot, and you gotta address that. So it's like, okay, great.
Do you think what do you think? Is it like 50-50, or do some comics really have to puzzle it out, like you were saying, or do some just really it just kind of is there? I
mean, like, there's definitely some that make a lot of material just look like it's just like offhand. But I've also seen there's a guy out in LA. Because there's 3 big clubs: Laugh Factory, Hollywood Improv, Comedy Store. Comedy Store is probably one of the most prolific right now, like Rogan and Segura's and like Home Court or whatever. There's a guy named Rick Ingram out there who I sat through. I actually brought Matt Ballo. Matt Ballo was out for work, and he did a night in LA. We went and saw a show. 15 minutes of crowd work, just like, and that's his thing. He just goes around like, what do you do? And he just riffs off of that. So yeah, like no planned stuff, and it's 15 minutes of just like it killer. Like sometimes that kind of stuff is really envious because you plan so meticulously, like, these 5-10 minutes, and someone just go up and just kill that hard for 10 minutes. You're like, what am I doing? You know? Yeah. But it's definitely a lot more planned than people I think definitely realize. But there's guys that can really just do that. Yeah. I don't know percentage wise, but I mean, the guys that have done it for so long, I think it's just a natural thing. They know how to address it. I'm only 3 years in, so again, in my mind, nothing. I'm just thankful I feel like I'm better at sort of doing jokes in my voice, or that I can sort of like put the proper amount of like anger or angst in a joke, where it's not like too much like it's processed. It's not, it's like whoa, but like you can things can be funny if they're kind of from that angle, But yeah, there's guys that have been doing it for 15-20 years. It's clear because they can just they can riff so well, and you're like, I can't wait to do that.
Yeah.
The way that you talk about comedy and everything you just said is this. It sounds like the same way I talk about music.
Yeah.
When I get excited about something and I go off, and what I'm curious to find out is how. Okay, so Merrill High School. Where'd you go to college?
UW River Falls. So like right by the border of Minnesota.
For 4 years?
4 years. Yep.
What did you get out of college?
So my background. So I actually initially was like, I'm gonna do political. I was dead set. I'm gonna be a lawyer. Dead set. And a year and a half into my political science classes, I'm like, I hate this more than like I hate it so much. And so I was like, you know what? Get it like I'm like, pick a degree that you're not gonna love, but like would get you a job potentially in something like at least adjacent to something you would like. So I ended up going for marketing and communications because I could. They have this thing in River Falls called Option B minor, which is so like obviously you have like okay I'm a marketing major and a accounting minor or whatever. Right. But Option B is like basically sort of like build your own adventure. Like you can like so this business sort of like close to business classes, but I was able to take a ton of music classes, a ton of theater classes, and they still applied to my minor. So, but I'd wanted to do stand up since I was like in a freshman in high school, but I never actually considered it at all. Like,
Did you do anything like that in high school?
No, is like only thing close is like Tom. Tom was the first one that ever convinced me to get on the stage. There was like a tsunami relief thing at the auditorium in the middle school when 2004, and I knew like 6 chords in the guitar, and I was just starting to like sing. I was just starting to like be comfortable enough to sing in front of people, and I went and sang "Knocking on Heaven's Door." So like it was a simple like little thing. And it was so fun. I'm like, oh, okay, this is a cool thing. And then sort of, I stayed that course, and I did a lot of music stuff in college, and then obviously post college. But stand up was always there, and I'm like, I'm gonna eventually get to it. I just need to kind of find the right time. I never even thought about it. Like it was, of course, it's fun to sit around with your friends and make them laugh and stuff like that. But in like a structured setting, like nothing close in high school or college. Although in college, I was close to Minneapolis. I knew Acme had their comedy night, and I'm like, I'm gonna get over there and do their open mic. And I never did. I just never did.
You sound. I mean, it sounds like you're an entertainer. So music, you were able to get up in front of people and perform music. Mm-hmm. Comedy, the same thing. So you have like a heart for entertainment.
It's fun. I've never been like. I've been very lucky that I've never been on like. It's. I mean, it's not like. Not in some way of like look at me, but like I haven't been uncomfortable to get in front of people.
Right.
Like that's never like that kind of stage fright has never scared. But at the same time, I still would get nervous for gigs and whatever else. But that was actually one of the first open mics I ever did because I moved to LA 4 years ago. I have only been in comedy for 3 years. I was scared to get on stage for a year. I would go and watch open mics, and I would like, which is a lot of comics who are many years in say that's a good strategy because it lights a fire in your belly, kind of like, okay, I can do this. Like,
right.
Are my jokes funny enough? And there are many times I wrote my name down, but would just keep it in my pocket. I'm like, I'm not going to put it in the hat to be drawn, But one of the first mics I ever did, I bombed really hard. There's a lot of bombing in comedy. You bomb all the time. But like my first true hard bomb to just silence, that was the difference part of like where I noticed first music where I'm like, that's where I would much rather like I miss music in that part. I'm like, oh, because I can just go into the next song and like I can kind of drown them out. Yep. Where like if you like a joke just goes out to silence, you're like, so how about this one? And then just more silence, and you're like, okay, and then like your body, at least for, like used for me, the first time I bombed really hard, my body betrayed me. Like you're getting uncomfortable saying it, but it's like I remember standing there and I remember trying to like say my next joke, and I just go like it just like got stuck in my throat,
no.
and then everyone was kind of looking. But see, that's the thing. Like you learn after a while. Everyone does it. So like in my first time doing it, I'm like, oh, they're never gonna let me on stage again, But then everyone saw me in the audience bomb. I've seen them bomb because even being in a big city, you see the same comics out. So
sure.
But yeah, bombing like this. I and it's kind of nice. You hear headliners like say, yeah, bombing never gets easier. It's bombing. You just do it, But you have to do it because you're trying. You're trying new stuff or whatever. But yeah, that was a part of one of the first mics. I'm just like, oh, this is a different part of music. Where music, I can shut them up for a half hour. I can keep playing Tom Petty. They're not going to do a thing about it.
So what was the tipping point for you to go to California?
That's what. That's that. Good call.
It was okay. So 2011, my first job I ever worked for was the Stevens Point Journal, and at this point, I wanted to go, but I actually was kind of like, I think I'm settled here, And then my first 2 jobs were in sales, ad sales, and I sucked at it. I was so bad at ad sales. I do not have the spine for sales. I would literally
You're such a nice guy, man.
Yeah.
Dude, I would call people and like they would answer and I'd hang up. That's what like that's I did like is this stove fireplaces in Stevens Point? Like yeah, click. That's all. I couldn't do it at all. So then I worked for another paper up here called Saloons and Spoons, and then I was up for a huge job at Ministry Healthcare. Which is now Ascension Healthcare, but Ministry Healthcare, I was actually going through a temp agency, but there was a really, really lucrative marketing tech type job. And I interviewed for it 3 times, and I didn't get it. And the day after I didn't get it, I had an interview for Grable, it was an accounting position down in Wausau. So as soon as I got that job at Grable, this would have been early 2012, I was like, I'm going to use this job to pay down some debt, like student debt and stuff, save up money, and I'm gonna go to California. I don't care how long it takes. I'm not putting a time on it. I because in my mind, like, oh, 6 months and then go.
Right.
But I knew I wasn't gonna be able to like clear that much. I mean, obviously you're trying to pay bills just as is, and then set aside money is hard because then all of a sudden the car goes $1,000 bill or whatever. So early 2012. So as soon as I got that job, because if I got that ministry job, I am certain that I would have a house here and everything, which is like which that would be great too. Like honestly, it would have been such a fun, like really rewarding job, especially with like how much they've changed in the last few years. Business would have been booming. I'll put it that way, But I was like, you know what? Like it's easy for me to sit back because I was very much like I bet I could go out and give it a try. And I was like, well, you better put up or shut up. So save money, do it the right way. And I had a friend out there already, which made it easier. Who was I did an exchange semester in my junior year of college. And I did a semester over in Monterey, California, which is the most beautiful place in the freaking world. And my roommate from that moved to LA. He was already there. So that made it easier because I can't imagine going to see like and honestly, if I didn't know anybody, that might have been like I don't really want to
Right.
I would have been a little much to do. But to the longest answer ever to your simple question, early 2012 was the final point where I'm like, I'm gonna do this.
And was it fully in the pursuit of comedy, or was there a marketing job out there you could kind of fall back on?
I could, but like so. Yeah.
What's the day job?
So I drive Uber. I drive Uber about 45, 50 hours a week. Wow. And I like all I can ask for a job like that. I don't hate it. Like I'm not gonna go as far as say like I like it, but so I finally just got a Prius, which is what I should have done a long time ago. I had my Jeep out there forever. Yeah. So like my argument was, oh well, I paid off my Jeep, so I don't have a car payment, so it's great. But gas is expensive out there, and after a while, I'm not even kidding, I was spending probably $230 a week in gas if I worked a full week. But the thing is, you can make like in a city like that. I can't speak for other cities, but in LA, if you drive Uber, when to drive 40 hours, 50 hours a week. You can pull down a grand a week about. So whatever I pay in gas, I can write off in taxes plus my mileage, all that fun stuff. So it made it worth it. But now, funny enough, I have a car payment of about $300. And I spend maybe $50 a week in gas, so I actually save money by having a car payment. I should have done it a long time ago, but yeah, Uber like allows me. That's why I'm home. I've been home for a week already, and I'm home till Sunday. So like no other job like that will I be able to like. Hey, I'm not gonna come in for 2 weeks. They'd be like, all right, you're fired, you schmuck. Don't come back.
Yeah.
So and I've been able to like take sort of last minute cool gigs like the Charlie Barron's thing because of a job like that. And if I know I'm coming home like I was for this time, then I up my hours to like 70-ish hours a week, and I drive 7-10s. But I mean, it's fine. I get up and I get up, I have my coffee, and then 7 to 4 I drive, and then I still have my night open for mics and all that or shows.
Yeah.
And it's weird. I couldn't imagine. I don't know what some people did. Yeah, 15, 20 years ago. Yeah, maybe everyone has a different day job. Obviously, servers are the popular thing, but that's a night gig. So if you're an actor, that's great. If you want to do stand up, it's tough. So. I'm very spoiled in the fact that it's truly, in the sort of service app age with Uber. Even if Uber fell through, there's Lyft, there's Postmates, there's Instacart, there's all these like delivery things where you can just sign on. I'm gonna work 10 hours, boom, and then work 10 hours, and you can not work for 2 days if you want. So it's you're spoiled, but you gotta sort of have some structure. Like I make sure to try to work the same hours because otherwise it's very easy to abuse that. Where you're like, all right, I'm gonna start working at 9. And you wake up at 9. You're like, all right, I'm gonna start working at 11. So and you can push it further and further back.
So
That's the Midwest in you.
Yeah.
And you're out there in pursuit of a full-time comedy career.
Yes, yeah. So like that really was like when I moved out there, that was in my head. But again, I didn't even tell my folks. Like I think I told and not that they would have been like, oh, don't do it. They would have been like, why? You love music so much. And like in my mind, I was gonna move out there and I was gonna get a gig like playing piano at a hotel or for something like that to maybe hold me over. But then the money started going fast. I'm like, okay, I gotta do what I gotta do. My first job out there was I worked at Target, and that so few hours, so in between, I was barely paying like my utility bills with that. So I'm like, okay, that's not working. Then I worked for a startup for a few months. That wasn't working. And I kind of avoided Uber, but people were like, oh no, give it a try. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. Then I worked my first week and I made $900 in 30 hours. And I was like, oh, okay, great. And that's not the norm at all. That's not the norm at all. But that was just like, that's when the boom was really starting. So I was like, oh no, this is a good means to an end. And that's been how it's been for 3.5 years now. So yeah, so I can't complain. And
You've been in LA for 3.5 years.
So 4 years. But
4 years.
I've been
Yep.
driving Uber and Lyft for
And
like
then
3.5, so.
your comedy career, just as long.
3 years.
3
So
years.
yep. So yeah, I didn't get on stage for a year because I was scared to do that. Like
What,
I was.
what was the tipping point for that?
I was literally like, I literally pulled my buddy aside. I'm like, let's do it. Like, I'm like, I need someone to come with me because I'm not gonna. If I bomb, I don't want to walk off stage by myself. I want.
You have to drag me.
yeah. I want to at least have someone to walk back to and be like, oh, not doing that again. But I mean, the only thing I could really thank for that is that it didn't go poor. It wasn't great. It wasn't like, oh, a room full of, oh, this is great. But like one joke kind of hit. And then one didn't, and then one kind of hit again, and I'm like, okay, that's good enough. And it was fun enough where I'm like, I'm gonna come back and try this. So that was literally October, like 12th, 2015. So that was my first open mic, and then I did it like I think 25 more times like throughout the rest of the year.
Wow.
And then I'd say March of 2016 is when I really started to like okay, 8 to 10 mics, because like there's no excuse. There are so many open mics, and it's easy to get lazy with anything. You can allot time other ways, but there's 8 to 10 mics you should be hitting a week easily. So like I try to cram them because you can hit 3 mics in a night. You just gotta start at 5. You'll be done by midnight, but it's a lot of running around, but you can do it. So I'll usually take 4 nights and I'll do 2 to 3 mics a night, and then that's how I build.
Does everybody do that, or are you kind of doing that? Or
Oh,
like, is that-
there are guys, dude, that do like 21 mics a week. There are guys that like are just really like, their work ethic is just something to revere. But I hate it, but there's a very big part of me that there's a lot of good enough in me, So like I've been fighting that, like, because in my mind, I want to pat myself on the back. Oh, you did 8 mics this week. That's great. It's like, you could have done 12, But then I know if I did 12, I'm like, you can do 15. You can easily bump it up. But as long as I'm growing, that's all I care about. But my buddy Harper, who was one that actually came and did the show this last Friday, her work ethic is great, and she also really helped me get out of my head, because just as much as it is to like go and do mics, a huge part of it is reaching out to shows to book you. Like having you have your tape, and like it takes a lot just to get a tape you like to send out to places. But I am very Midwestern, and I don't want to bother anybody. I really don't. It's a thing. I worry that if I send someone an email like, "Hey, I want to do your show," they're gonna read it and be like, "I hate this guy so much." That's just my projection on the people. So Harper helped me really get out of my head about that, and she's like, "No, you got they get so many emails. Like go to so then you go to shows. You go to shows you want to be on. Go and say hi to the booker and be like, "Hey, I'm Matt. Like, I just want to let you know it's a great show. I'd love to be on sometime." And then follow up a couple days later and send them an email. Or hit them on Instagram, Facebook, whatever they like, whatever their preference is. There's a lot of that kind of stuff too, And this year I've been getting booked on a lot better shows I'm really excited to be booked on, and I had my first gig down in San Diego, which I've been trying to get into that city for a year. I had my first gig next weekend down there at the Comedy Palace. So you just have these little things to sort of again, like bullet point of, okay, this is how you're making progress. But
so what is that bullet point for you right now? What was the highlight, the gem?
Honestly, man, this last Friday was special. Like, I was scared.
So just to recap, that was here at Lesson Gyms.
Yep, Lesson Gyms. So Mark Barris is I think it's Barris. It's Barris or Barris. He is the best. He was so wonderful to work with. I know he's been doing stand up here. He does like a season, so like one show per 5-6 months. And people had told me like, oh, you should come do a show here, and I kind of fought it. I'm like, I don't know, like hometown, it might be kind of, I almost worried it was like, I don't know, too showy, or like what if no one shows up, that kind of stuff, But then I was like, no, it'd be fun to bring like the comics I love and I'm close friends with, and like bring them and show off Merrill, especially in the fall. So I went to Mark in March, and I was like, hey, if we're not worried about making a lot of money. We just want to make sure our travel's paid for, essentially. But, like, what if I brought, it'd be me and, like, 3 or 4 other comics, and we do, like, a showcase style. We each do 20 minutes. And he's like, yeah, great. He was really excited about it. So, boom, that was it. And then we really started promoting it this last month. And I'm like, oh, people are going to show up. And like I said, I was expecting, like, 125, 150. We get there, and Mark's like, we're up to about 250 sold. And I was like, oh, my God.
Wow.
And ended up being, I think the final ticket, like, number was, like, just, like, it was, like, 272. But there were more people in there because there were a lot of people that were comped and stuff. Sure. So, like, we think it was about 300 people. And I was floored and flattered, and like it was, but then like it was crazy because like I was just everyone I feel like everyone I ever met was throughout my life. I could like pinpoint like Dave's dad walks up to me and I'm like, hey Dave, it's good to see you. One of my English teachers walks up to me. Sure. I'm standing waiting to go up as Mark is introducing the show. And all of a sudden I hear, good luck, man. I look down, and Mrs. Klug, my 3rd grade teacher, is sitting there with her husband.
Oh, that's so cool.
And I'm like, hi. And she's like, good luck. And I was like, thank you for coming. You know, it was great. And I went up, and I'm not going to lie to you, dude. Like, I made the joke. I'm like, oh, hi, everybody. I've never met. This isn't terrifying. And I was going to just, like, try to warm up the show, because Aaron wanted to go first. My buddy Aaron, I'm like, great, man, please go first. But I want to have the crowd somewhat warm for him, and I did a few like sort of riff jokes, but I felt like I've never felt that like nervousness in my chest, and I could feel myself like starting to sound shaky, and I'm like, all right, just bring up Aaron, and then I brought up Aaron and Harper, and they did well, and then sometimes
did you headline the show? Or is it
they promoted it as like me being the headliner, but like I let our friend Sierra go officially headline the show because she has like she's been on Last Comic Standing. She did like she's written for a few TV shows and that kind of stuff. So I'm like, well, she has me. I'm like, hey, Charlie Barons. I did comedy with him one time. And people are like, oh, out here like that's great. Out in LA, they're like, who? This is. But I let her headline officially. But Mark promoted it as me because like the hometown guy to bring people out, which is very sweet. But like I felt very lucky because I went up. Harper went up, did her set, brought me up. And then, like, there's sometimes the nervousness doesn't go away. You just got to rough through that for a set. And for whatever reason, thank God, I just felt like this wave of calm because I got the first laugh. Like, I did my opening joke is like, I finally opened up my dream business in Los Angeles. I'm going to open up a mini golf marijuana dispensary called Putt Putt Pass. And so like that's the first one. And that usually gets like a nice wave. And then it's just like, and that was the calm for me. And then I just launched into it. And I was worried I was going kind of short, and I got off stage and Aaron's like, you did a half hour. And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, thank God. And it was the most fun I've ever had on stage. Cause like, again, I'm looking out like it's like my buddy Eric. It's like my dad's over there. There's Gene Bowen. There's and it's like there's Mrs. Klug. Here's Mike Plish. It's just there's people like very flat. And my old coworker Tammy's here too. Great, cool. That was really special. And then people coming up afterwards being very sweet and very gracious. And the biggest thing that will change my stand-up going forward is I'm very in my head about like, oh, someone might not like this joke or this might offend somebody. And I have one joke where I drop the F-bomb like 7-8 times. The rest of my set is pretty...
Did you do it in Merrill?
Yeah. So the rest of my set's pretty clear. Even though in the joke it's me quoting someone else dropping the F word to me and me essentially reacting to it, like, why are you talking like this? What's wrong with you? But my youth group leader, Keish walked up to me. That was the one joke. I'm like, oh, people might kind of be a little. It went over really well. And Keish walked up to me afterwards. He was like, that was my favorite joke. And I was like, okay, like this is my youth. I mean, and Keish, cool. Keish is obviously Keish is a wonderful man. So but it's not a joke. I would sit down and be like, hey, what do you think about this one? He'd be like, don't talk to me about this, But so the fact that he liked that was a sort of a nice telling thing for it's like, no, if you think it's funny, that's good enough. You just got to convince them that it's funny,
Right.
Because I'm so worried that someone's going to hear it and be like, oh, I took that the wrong way. But I posted it on social media not too long ago. But my mom sent this recipe to my apartment in LA a couple years ago. It's her turkey chili recipe. It's delicious. And I posted it on Facebook. I'm like, and I put a picture of the recipe, and I'm like, oh, this recipe is the bomb. And I swear to God, another comedian messaged me, and she was like, oh, that's really funny. She's like, you do know there were attacks in London last night. She thought me saying something was the bomb was like I was riffing off of terrorism. Like, I swear to you. So like after seeing that, I'm like, okay, people are gonna reach for whatever the hell they want as far as like what offends them, And I'm pretty white bread as far as like, like subject matter. I'm talking about my dad a lot. I'm talking about driving for Uber in that city, and
right.
But it's who knows what I guess we'll talk about in 10 years, but like just not worried about that. It's just like if it's funny, it'll translate. And the fact that it went over well in a small town, knowing that Joe's work in LA, that's a comfort. It's like, okay, I could potentially go anywhere with this set, so we'll see. We're gonna do it again next year. Mark was very sweet. He's like, yeah, let's bring it back.
Oh,
and
for
I'm like,
sure. He
please.
pulled 300 people in the door for him. That's incredible. I hope they gave you guys I mean, did you get a cut at the
Oh
door?
yeah,
or
yeah,
get
oh,
to
yeah, yeah.
Everybody.
No, he was, yeah, no. So yeah, we agreed in a set amount.
Yeah.
But because of that higher amount, like no, they took care of us, and
Oh,
also
that's awesome.
yeah, and free food and drinks, which we made sure we got our good use out
Yeah.
of too. So we literally walked to the bar. And my buddy
Their
Aaron's
food's
like,
good there.
yeah, what's that? Oh,
Their food is good there.
dude, they're yeah.
They have
So
an awesome beer selection.
yep,
Too.
and their cheese curds, like so, like that alone, like of course, they were all making jokes. Oh, when you eat cheese, it's like, well, yeah, you're going to. So
Yeah.
we're gonna eat a lot of cheese. So like, we had him earlier that day, and we get back to the bar, and Aaron's like, yeah, fries and 3 cheese curds. We're like, okay, great. So he's just in the bar, just like every Wisconsin appetizer you can want, just boom, 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 right in front of him. But yeah, no, that was the ultimate bullet point, and I'm really excited. There's a few fun shows coming up in LA that I've been trying to get on for a while, and I've got finally this month. So and it's averaging out to like 1 show a week, and then you just fill the rest of the nights with open mics, just trying to like build your, because in my mind I think I got about like 40 minutes of like working material, plus 15 I would say need a lot of work, but like in a pinch I can maybe throw out there for an and try to build towards an hour. But I'm sure once I cut the fat in those jokes, it'll be 7 minutes. So a lot of ums and ahs in between, so
Right.
it fills the time. But
How can
Yeah.
how can we support you? How can people? As a
Yeah.
like being in a bands and stuff, Dave and I are like, well, you buy a band's merch, you buy the record, you do this. So how do we help comedians?
yeah, I mean honestly, like that might be more on my end. This like I'm not really putting out like content people can buy. I'm like, in my mind again. I'm still like I'm just trying to build and just like get
Right.
good at this. So
Right.
like
I mean, do you have a social media accounts for your
Oh,
your comedy?
or not strictly for comedy, but like
it's just you.
Yeah, it's just me, but like it's they're pretty much the same, So yeah,
Right.
so like,
So people who follow your comedy are following the same pages that
yeah,
everybody else is.
yep,
your
on
families
Instagram,
and
on
everything
Instagram
else.
and Facebook, absolutely, yeah.
Right.
So
So there's no stage name here. It is,
Nah. Yeah, no. I think the only thing I haven't done is like maybe change a handle to like Torkelson Comedy or something like that. But otherwise, I just don't. I don't know. It's all like Torque88 Keys on Instagram and Twitter, and then just my name on Facebook. So like that's pretty much it. And yeah, because hopefully in like 5 years I'll have like a CD I can put out, and then like you can like But a lot of it's just like following them and when like these headliners, and then seeing when someone comes close to them,
Sure.
But we'll see how things translate, because more and more I could put a CD out and on iTunes or whoever they could buy it, but that's down the road, that's a ways down the road.
So right now, I mean, we just gotta pay attention to what's going on.
Sure. Yeah.
Like shows like this, 300 people. That's a big room. That's a big crowd.
Yeah.
That's
that was great.
impressive for anywhere.
Oh, thanks, man.
So
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I still am in disbelief that that's what the turnout was. So it was very gracious. But yeah.
Okay. So we gotta catch Matt on what, Twitter?
Twitter, Instagram.
Instagram?
Sure. Yep. Torque88 Keys is the name, and I'll hopefully post some things that make you laugh and whatnot. But yeah, then any shows coming back towards the Midwest, I'll definitely like let people know about and whatnot. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Matt, thank you.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. It was a lot of fun.
Sure. For sure.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks again for joining us for another episode of Ryan and Dave Save the World. This week's opener brought to you by a band called Saving Cities. And this one closing out the show today is by Circus Fires. If you want to get in touch with us, hit us up on Facebook, or you can email us at ryananddavesavetheworld@gmail.com. We want you on the show. We want to hear from you guys. Get at us. We'll see you next week. Peace.
The things you've done, just hold on to those mistakes. Don't ask to be redeemed.